Hey you, I'm the Queen of Shade. Welcome to the interview. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit my Cash App to support your favorite content creator. Now let's get to the interview. Mwah.
I can think about a million reasons why you need to burn in hell. You're a liar and a cheater, a con artist telling tales. Been rejected, disrespected, boy, your abuse never fails. I'm so done, boy, really done, boy, now I'm staying to myself. I'm so stoic. I'm so stoic. I'm so stoic. I'm so stoic.
Salutations to foes. This is your fabulous leader, the Queen of Shade, coming to you with a special presentation. It's Pride Month, and it's the 27th of June, and Pride Month is about to wrap up. And I like to take Pride Month, especially the end, to reflect on all of the month's happenings. We've had celebrations all over the world. We've partied, we've drank, we've had sex, hopefully protected. We've done all of the things that we could to celebrate our being ourselves. But even in the midst of all of that, there is still a looming pain and a looming dread of going back to our regular lives, our families, our jobs, where no one respects us. And it's hard to do because we're leaving environments where everyone was like us. Everyone was partying. Everyone was happy to be who they were. And we partied together. But on the ride home, the dread will return. That we have to go back to a world that doesn't think we should exist, that thinks we should get AIDS and die, that thinks we are trying to indoctrinate their children, force our lifestyle on their children, all sorts of horrible, heinous things. So as a community, the LGBTQIAP plus community, we are still not legally free. And I'm doing this video today because it was one of my buddies, Michael Janvier. Everyone knows him as Hey Mikey ATL. He posted something today and he started a very huge conversation. And he said that people annoyed him when they said, or when they would say being gay is a choice. And he went on to elaborate about how being gay is not a choice. And then I sent him a private message. And that conversation continued. And he said to me, Queen, you probably know this topic more than any of us. And when he said that, I felt a moral obligation to myself and to those that follow me, listen to me under the sound of my voice, to further explain that being gay is not a choice. I'm going to start off with the meat and potatoes and then back up and give you the vegetables. I sit here today, the Queen of Shade, a global icon, someone who is multi-talented, multi-dimensional, has a heart and loves people, but especially her community, LGBTQIAP plus. You will hear me say that a lot because I want to make sure everyone is included. But you know, I sit here because of a devout Christian. I don't have a religion. I gave that up at 19 to find myself. And then I began a life in entertainment. Started in fashion and traveling all over the world, trying to get a modeling agency to see past my Black skin and their racism and actually take me on their boards and give me a shot, because I was tired of them telling me I had the look, but then not telling me, oh, well, you're Black, so we really don't do this that often, or you don't come from money, or, whatever excuse that they have. But I'm not religious. At 19, I set out to find myself, and at 40, I have found myself. But I'll have you know that I was given that opportunity by a devout Christian. My grandmother is a devout Christian. She reads her Bible every day, she prays, and she has a lot of Christian ideals. In the past, with me being who I am, we've butted heads. But at the same time, as much as a mentor and teacher as she is, so am I, as am I. And I remember one of those fiery conversations when I first got here 18 years ago. And I looked my grandmother square in the face. And I said, being gay, being bi, being trans, the whole spectrum is not a choice. And then I followed it up with this. Why would I choose something that would get me beat up and chased home from school, as it did, bullied, made fun of by grown men and women, as it did, set me up to live a very second-rate citizen life, as it did, until I did something about it, only to die and go to hell? Why would I choose to live a life that would cause that much calamity and inevitably my murder? And when I said that to my grandmother, she looked at me, and she didn't have to say any audible words. But in that moment, I knew she understood. And we never discussed it again. And her conversation changed when she realized it was not a choice. When she realized that my effeminacy was not something that I chose to be, that it was me, a part of me, as natural as breathing, as natural as my mezzo-soprano voice. When she realized that, she got out of my way, because she could see that this lifestyle was causing me pain. Pain. You see, I want to back up. I have known that I was gay since I was 5 years old. But at 5, you don't really have the hormones yet to be doing things and acting out. Puberty hasn't hit. But I knew. I knew the way I looked at older men. I knew the way I looked at my aunt's Playgirl magazine when she came home from Malibu, California, and tried to hide it in a house with me, a snooper. And I found it. And I remember looking at these grown men in these images in that Playgirl magazine and looking at them with such admiration. Because you're young. I was 5 or 6. You don't know what sex is by then. I hadn't been raped or molested yet. That came at 8. But 5 or 6, I was innocently looking at these men's naked bodies, realizing they had the same thing that I did, but also appreciating them and saying to myself, one day I'm going to grow up and I'm going to get me a man that looks like these men. One day I'm going to grow up and I'm going to take care of my body and make sure that I look like these men. That's what happened at 5. And when my aunt discovered that I had found her magazine, she wasn't mad. She screamed a little bit, "Oh my God, what are you doing with that? Give it here." But that was it. There wasn't any trial by fire, spankings or whoopings behind it. It's nothing. It's nothing. You see, I wasn't taking the magazine to pleasure myself physically. I didn't know what that was and wouldn't know until I was 14 how to masturbate. Damn near rubbed my skin off my dick trying to learn how to masturbate. My God. When I look back at the traumas that I put myself through, trying to navigate a world where I knew I was different, where I was attracted to the young men that went to school with me in middle school and high school, and not being able to act out on those hormones, those likes, not being able to experiment the way the guys told me in ninth grade, we're 14, 15 years old, told me that they were experimenting with the opposite sex and asked me if I had a girlfriend or if I had experimented, and my answer was no. And they knew why my answer was no, but I didn't have anybody I could experiment with. Can you imagine how traumatic it was to have your hormones raging and have no one to help you or talk to you about how to calm your raging hormones and emotions, or to meet someone of like mind that you could experiment with the same way the girls were experimenting with the guys in high school? That was the most terrifying time in my life. When I thought that there were a few guys that were interested in me and we tried to experiment, it always went left. Either I didn't want to go too far, they didn't want to go too far. Either I wanted to go far, either I wanted to do something and they didn't want to do something. Either they wanted to do something and I didn't want to do something. We didn't know what we were doing. It was like riding a bike for the first time. We knew nothing about it. Nothing. So those opportunities dried up. They were hit or misses. And then I graduate high school. But before I do, 14, 15 years old, I got suspended from school because my straight classmates taught me how to use the internet, taught me how to do Yahoo searches at that time, back in 96, 97. Yahoo searches. You could search porn without being detected by the school because it was inside of a Yahoo search. And Yahoo was a website that was allowed. And while I watched all of my young classmates laugh and giggle and print out photos of naked girls, I would go after school and I would print out and search photos of naked men. And you know, the crazy thing about it was I was in a Caucasian school predominantly. So my searches were for white guys. I was into white guys at that time. And one day I went to print, and I was still learning computers. It was new to me. I went to print the photos out and they didn't come out of the printer. Didn't dawn on me that the printer was out of paper, or to say that the printer was out of paper. I thought they just didn't come out and I left. And they came out after I left. And I got suspended for printing pornography of guys, gay guys, at school. But as my therapist says, I was 15 years old. Big whoop. Big whoop. I got suspended. I came back to school and continued. But my parents had to be called in. My uncle, my gay uncle, had to be called in. And they had a chat. Whatever, before I got there. And he took me home. I got suspended. Okay. Printing out pornography. Okay. Whatever. It happened. I was young, hormonal, and curious. So, and as my therapist says, and all the other guys were printing out girls and not getting caught. I got caught. Okay, I got caught. Didn't mean that I was going to be standing in front of a firing squad or anything. And I returned to school to go on with my career. Now, there are so many sides of that story because, I've heard my uncle tell other people, oh, they wanted to expel him. And I said, no, no. I've talked to a lot of the staff from then because, being famous now kind of gives you a key to your city. So they let me know, no, you were just going to be suspended and go home. We understood what you were dealing with. We understood what you were. But even in my school, it was something that wasn't talked about. It was something that was frowned upon. And I didn't have to deal with bullying physically then because I'd left the inner city. So I was no longer being chased home with rocks or, chased home by boys and being hit with rocks and hit in the head with bricks. And, because the way that the Black community is set up, they kill anything that's different. Can you imagine this beautiful being sitting in front of you wouldn't have been here because they were hitting me in the head with bricks trying to kill me? And that's when my family said, okay, we need to move him to the suburbs. To this day, I still find more acceptance with Caucasians, but I have built a pocket following of Black gay men. Yeah. Now, because my work extends past, just the LGBTQIAP plus community, and I'm a light to everyone now, I also have a large straight man following because they admire my language and my mind and what comes out of my mouth. It helps them with their women. Mm-hmm. So I do have a following of straight men as well. But growing up gay was a horrific thing. It was a horrific thing. I was a virgin until college. I was a virgin. And the great thing about that was I had already decided I didn't want any of the guys on my campus. I didn't want them, as much as I like to talk, I didn't want anybody talking about that, about me or having me. I had a guy lie and say he had me, but I've already kiboshed that rumor. He never knew that I'd grow up to be famous, turn out to be famous, and could say, no, that never happened. But I didn't mess with any of the men. I fell in love with the guy, but we never went there because I just didn't trust him. I didn't trust him. So what did I do? I met a grad student in another state, Black, educated, handsome, older, mature, to my 18, 19 years of age. And I'll never forget that beautiful experience at college over the summer. It was summer season. He drove all the way from the other state, hours to see me. I had been working out. My body was amazing. And this was the first time that I was intimate with a man ever. So I wanted it to be perfect. So I went, and he was muscular. So I went and I got jasmine scented massage oils and massaged his entire body, made sure the room was lit with candles and things like that. Before I got into the habit of leave all the lights on, because I'm that girl. Leave all the lights on. I want to see everything. Leave it on. But there were candles. And that was the first time that I was intimate with a man. That was the first time that I actually was the receiving partner of a man. And I'll never forget, while we were having the sex, I was so relaxed. Sorry, that's my alarm letting me know, bitch, you're about to tell him too much, but see if I care. But I was so relaxed. I was so calm with him. He wore condoms. He took his time. He talked to me during the experience. It wasn't just face down, ass up like the song says. And I'll never forget him saying to me, "You really wanted this?" And I said, "Yeah, I was ready for this." And he said, "Yeah, because your body was so relaxed." He said, "I would have never known that this was your first time." But it was a mind thing for me. I had already saw so many men at my school, black and white, football players and all these hot guys that I couldn't sleep with. So I had a lot of that pent up sexual frustration. I didn't trust them. So when it came time for him, I was ready. Like I was ready. I wanted to get over this virginity thing. So I did. And to this day, I touch bases with him every now and then. He's an amazing man. I remember his first and last name. What set out to be just, a booty call off the internet, off Black Planet at that time, turned out to be so much more for me. And he felt that. And he took his time and he was a gentleman. Felt like shit afterwards for the next couple of days and ran my mouth and told my girlfriends, my Christian girlfriends, who ridiculed me into hell. Who ridiculed me into hell. And my mania and triggers started to happen. And not too long after that, I was medically withdrawn from school because I just couldn't take it anymore. It was too much trying to grow up, too much trying to fit into a world where I felt I didn't belong. But I'll have you know, listen to these stories that I'm telling you. There was no outlet. No outlet. We as gay people, we are still forced to hide our sexual agendas, our prowess, not to love out loud. Yeah, they say, oh, well, move to these cities. Yeah, there are pockets and neighborhoods in those cities, but you can still get into danger. And when I say danger, I mean black, white, indifferent, anyone who is against homosexuality. You can find yourself in trouble very quickly. As a community, we have to understand that no one is going to give us equality. No one. We have to stop asking for equality. What do we want to be equal to? Who is so important and has their life so together that we look at them and say, I want to be equal to her. I want to be equal to him. I want to be equal to them. That's the fucking problem. To me, there is no one equal to me. None. Not even in the gay community. What I love about gay community and society is that all of us are so different. You may see two men that are femme, but they're femme in different ways. No two men are feminine the same way. It depends on how they grew up and what they loved and how they were treated. And sadly to say, a lot of feminine men, we were molested and raped, but we were the problem. I don't see it that way. What I see is that being gay is not a choice. And some of us show earlier than others. That happens. Being trans is not a choice. Being bi, people say, oh no, he's just gay. He's just trying to hold on to that last hurrah because he doesn't want to, be gay and undergo the same scrutiny as the gays. So that gives him one leg up. Listen, I don't care if you tell me you identify as a toaster. If you identify as a toaster, I'm going to call you a toaster. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you got to live with it, not me. And once I leave your presence, whether I believe you're a toaster or not, you have to deal with that. It's not my problem. And we all need to live like that. I'll call you whatever you want to be called because I don't have to live with it. And I'm gay. I don't have to live with it. Once I leave your presence, that is no more concern to me. So why do I have to police you and tell you that what you are trying to say you are is unethical, unlawful, and unbiblical? I really am a person that just lets people be, let them live. And it's why I'm one of the most widely accepted people on this planet, because I don't judge. I don't judge. I learned about a group or a demographic of people not too long ago called gay for pay. And I realized that these could be men or women that can have sex with a person and be straight. Everybody thinks that that is crazy. Everybody's like, no, he's gay. No, he's not. Listen, I could go down the rabbit hole with you, but I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to say this. Just because you try a banana split 1 time, 2 times, 5 times, doesn't mean that you are forced to eat banana splits for the rest of your existence. I think I have so many men that adore me because I don't try to label them. But I find no one wants the gay label. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take the label. Hi, I'm the Queen of Shade, a character created by a genius, Mr. Bjorn Dufault. And Mr. Bjorn Dufault is a gay man. Proudly, he's gay. No, a woman can't sleep with him and change him. He's gay. And he's happy to be gay because it took him such a long time in his life to embrace who he was. And when he finally did, he gained the entire world and all these talents. So he's very happy to say that he's gay because once he did that, his world started opening up. So hi, I'm the Queen of Shade, which is a creation of Bjorn Dufault. He's gay. It's just that simple. The agony that so many of us have gone through just to be ourselves. I had to isolate myself. I said, you know what? I don't have to say anything to anybody about what I am. I wish it wouldn't matter. Since when is a person defined by who they sleep with? But I shouldn't be asking that question because since when is a person defined by the color of their skin? As if the color of our skin is going to stop us from being intelligent, brilliant, smart. I digress. It takes a real group of idiots, a special kind of idiot, to persecute a person for things about themselves that they can't change. I was beat up physically all of my life. And then in the suburbs, emotionally bullied because of the sound of my voice. For as long as I can remember, men have been having a problem with my voice. You want to know why? Because it's attractive. It's attractive. It catches the ear. It tickles the prick. The taint starts to wiggle. My voice is one of those voices that has a lot of sensuality and sexuality in it. Like my grandmother used to tell me when I come home crying and bleeding, baby, you can't change your voice. So stop worrying about something you can't change. Still got bullied and beat up. But now today, my voice is $1 billion voice. So I guess I got the last laugh. And truly, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Clearly. Because I'm not dead. I'm not dead. And I'm such a fighter now that to try to take my life would be your misfortune. So don't try me. Your misfortune. I'm not about to just lay down my life. I worked hard to build my life, to get it to what it is now. I worked hard for this. I built this brick and mortar, brick by brick, mortar, brick, mortar, brick, mortar, brick. I built this from the ground up. This is my creation. And I'm very proud of that. I am who I want to be. But still don't go a lot of places. This world has a lot of mean people in it. And seeing as though our last president incited every hate group that was out there known to man and some not known to us, there's a lot of hateful people everywhere now. So I tend to stay to myself. But not really, because then I turn on my Tower of Babel and I stand at the top of it and I send my messages out into the world and people know who I am and people say that I'm beautiful and people love my voice and what I have to say and my information and my talents. And, it is what it is. I do what I do from a place of safety. And I always will. I always will. You're not going to catch me walking down the street, not without a pistol on both hips. But yeah, you're not going to catch me. There's certain places I don't go. I don't go into the ghetto. Walking through the ghetto? No, I don't put myself in harm's way to prove a point. Now, I've seen young men who live still in the ghetto because that's where they started, their family started, and they are unapologetically themselves, and they prance around every single day being themselves. And the ghetto either gets used to it or tries to fuck them in secret. I've had that. I fucked a couple of men in secret that were hood on the corner. Yeah, I've been there. But they're tough. What do you know about a gay person? A gay person we have a reputation for being fierce. We will cut you with a knife or something, It is violence when you mess with us because we have to defend our very lives. So it's not, oh, I was joking. No, this isn't a joke, dude. You came up to me and you tried to accost me and you're going to pay for this. You're going to pay for this right here, right now. Maybe that's the man in me. But what I have done in my lifetime is completely move into the gay community. I completely moved and became an icon in the gay community. The straights know me too, which is great. But yeah, I'm the gay world's queen of shade. We only have one. I only trademark. We only have one. We have others that wish they were that, but that was my creation. Go create something of your own. And my messages go out to the world every day. Every day. But as I was saying earlier, I have young men that are gay for pay. And I'm an ally to them because their enterprise helps my enterprise. If you know, then you know. I like things. Gay for pay men is something that I like a lot. But what am I saying to you? I'm laying out the knit and the grit of the community. And what I'm telling you is, this is not a choice. Do you know me being a trans illusionist, aka cross-dresser, was not a choice? I put on my first dress at 8. 8 years old. I put on my first wig at 10. My grandmother's wig. Dancing in the house to the legendary Tina Turner. This wasn't a choice. I just learned how to be fully 100% myself and live a fully self-expressed life. There are not very many parts of me that I hide because I realize all of these things, these little idiosyncrasies about myself are worth money. And they're worth money because people in the world like this. I don't care how many people try to say, oh, no, that's weird. You're a weirdo. You shouldn't dress like that. That's very sissy. Baby, that's okay what you think, but I don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree. And could you stop staring at me the way that you do when I walk by? Your mesmerizing eyes are blinding my path. The way that you're wanting me and salivating is blinding my path. I have to use rain boots because the pre-cum is so thick on the ground when I walk by that I can't get anywhere. But I digress. I'm not going to tell you about all the men that want me anymore. But being gay is not a choice. It's not a choice. How many times you have to hear it's not a choice? We wouldn't choose to be bullied for the rest of our lives, murdered, and then end up dying and going to hell and burning for all eternity if you subscribe to religion? No, we wouldn't do that to ourselves. We have no choice. You know how many of us tried to commit suicide? I'm one of those. You know how many of us tried to take ourselves out? I was on suicide watch in college when I was like, oh, no, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. And thank God for that university caring enough to watch me, put me somewhere safe so that I could get the help that I needed. Because I wasn't getting that help from my family. My family is riddled with mental illness, but yet I'm the only one and my nephew's the only one that's had therapy. Okay. Nobody else feels it's a problem. All right. Lay on, player. Do you. But this was not a choice. This does more than pay my bills. And I want you to understand this. This does more than pay my bills. This fulfills my fantasy. This is my fantasy. And I don't have to share this fantasy with anyone that I don't want to share it with, because this is my fantasy. It's mine. All that you see and all that you know about the Queen of Shade, she did in private and just decided to turn on a camera and let you see what she was doing in the privacy of her own bedroom. And I'm so glad that I did, because I would not have the courage, the strength, and the stamina to stand up and be myself if it wasn't for those dress rehearsals behind the scenes. I thank the divine for that. The hormone part was crazy till I discovered porn and Black men, but Latin men too, melanated men, period. But all those dress rehearsals were so beneficial to me because they allowed me to practice so that I could get the main event right. She always slays. New hair. Who's this? New eyeshadow with glitter in it. Who's this? Who's this? Oh, it's me. It's me. Born Kali Amor Payton, turned Bjorn Dufault, then dubbed the Queen of Shade. And my angelic name is Zaya, which means one who is strong. It's already a phoenix, but then to be given an angelic name too was very beautiful. It was given to me by my ancestors, the ancestral plane. If you don't know that I'm a shaman, oracle, prophet, seer, healer, clairvoyant, and many, 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 many other things, Phoenix and Fury, look it up. I've said it enough. But it was a blessing to be given all of these manifestations of myself. I learned to be 100% myself all the time. I am fully self-expressed. I don't hide or have to hide anything. And it is the fact that I turned on my camera and started letting the world see what I was doing behind closed doors that made me a star. Listen, you don't have to be gay. You don't have to be bi. You don't have to be a member of the community. You do not have to be a card-carrying member of the community. This goes for straight people as well. Just commit to being who you want to be. If you commit to being who you want to be, People have no choice or option but to treat you how you want to be treated because you're being who you want to be. I find one of the influencers that I follow, I don't want to say his name wrong, but it's something like Merkaba or something like that, Merkaba. But he said, we are living in a dispensation of time where we can actually become millionaires from our bedroom, where we can manifest our evolutions of ourselves right from our boudoirs. And he was so right, because I became the $1 billion voice from my bedroom. So much clothes in here now. I got to get out of here. Got to move to the next level, new home. I need 2 or 3 rooms just for my clothes, boy clothes and girl clothes included. I got boxes of girl clothes, Joe. But that's all right. I'll deal with that. To each his own. But I didn't want to let this Pride Month go by without telling everyone, because there's hate inside of the community. The masculines hate the feminines, and or the trans, the gays hate the feminine, gays hate the trans. Like, hey, listen, we're all a part of this diaspora. We need to love each other, and we need to understand each other, and we don't need to hate on any of us, because on the day of the great arms war between gays and straights, they're not going to care if you're a mask or a femme. We're going to need you on that front line, that battle line, because it's already begun. Legislation was just the first step. It's already begun. The war has already begun between straights and gays, which is unfortunate because they need us and we need them. It's perspective. But the powers that be don't want us to get along. The powers that be, and I'm talking about wealthy people that run all of this stuff, the jobs and everything that you have now, when you take your taxes and stuff. I'm talking about all of this commerce. We talk about Rockefeller creating a workforce and touching the school system, and you only being taught what he wanted you to learn so that you be a good worker later. No matter if you made 6 figures or not, or higher, you're still a workhorse. It's a lot going on. Yeah, I just said a lot, didn't I? Yeah, I did. But it doesn't matter. None of that matters. What matters is your authenticity. What matters is you being 100% who you were created to be and never being ashamed of a single part of you. I'm not ashamed of a single part of me. I never will be ever again. When I was young, I hated myself. I did, because everybody else hated me. And I wondered why I couldn't change. I wanted to change so much. I tried to fast and pray and literally almost died because I wouldn't eat anything. And got so emaciated, and it just was really bad. And I was like, I'm not going to eat anything until God makes me straight. And I almost died at my own hand. Only for God to come to me in Paris at 22 and say, baby, you're gay. Accept it. And I had like a nervous breakdown then, crying and rolling in the grass and screaming, and then got up like I wasn't crazy, fixed myself and walked out of there. Said, God, what are we going to do about it? No, I said, what am I going to do about it? And he said, we'll deal with it. I was 22 years old. We've never had a conversation about that since. And I talk to the divine every day about all of you and me and what's next. But this Pride Month, as it closes, please remember, we didn't choose this. We didn't choose this. A lot of us are insecure. Thank God I got over that stage. I'm 40. I'll be 41 in September. I'm over that. But a lot of the young babies are insecure because they don't have anyone to really support them. They are constantly ridiculed and bullied, but under the cover of darkness, they want to sleep with you. You know, I remember when I was in 5th grade in a Caucasian school, I got bullied one time badly. He was Black. And I want to leave you with this. He was Black. Never going to say his name, but he bullied me until one of my, what later became my best friend, came up from the inner city, and he was a football player. and he protected me, but this guy bullied me for a long time. And ended up being the romantic interest of my sister. And it was kind of crazy because I was in what? 6th grade, which put her in 4th. And he was sleeping with my sister. We were all at the same elementary school, but look at how early. This was a Caucasian school. But the Black people, see what's going on here? We could tell that he must have had something going on in his life, but that's not the moral of the story. The moral of the story is this: people make fun of you because they actually admire you, because you have the balls, cojones, to be who you are. But just to give you the ending of that story, he bullied me, and I was so upset because I thought I had escaped that from the inner city. And then my aunt did something that I hated. She forced me, and his mother forced us to be friends. And we weren't really friends. We never really were. But do you know what happened? I left, ripped out of that school, moved to another suburban school. Never saw him again. Never worried about him again. Never thought about him again. And then 19 going on 20, I come home after my college experience was horrific. And I'm working my first job, which was at a movie store, like a Blockbuster kind of thing, movie store. And one of my coworkers, she wasn't even a coworker at that time. She was just visiting. She was like, "Oh, I love you. You're so amazing." And this, that, and the other. And I was pretty. I was modeling then. And she said, "You're so pretty." And she's like, "Oh, I'm going to talk about you everywhere I go." And she did that. Little did I know she was friends still with that boy. And do you know what happened? And I'm going to end it with this. You know what happened? That boy sought me out, came to my job, talked to me, stayed there about 3 hours, asked me if we could go for a drink or something afterwards. I said, fine. I don't drink alcohol, but we can get something. We drove into the inner city, drove all around. He was filling me in about his life and talking to me. And I was just, listening because I didn't understand why he was looking me up. And I thought maybe he wanted to apologize. And he did. He did. And that was a crazy thing. I thought, okay, he wanted to apologize. So then he let me off back home. And then I get a text from him. And it said, "It was so great to see you tonight." And I said, "Yeah, it was great to kind of see you too." And then he asked me, "Can I ask you a question?" And I said, "What?" He said, "We got along so well tonight." I said, "Yeah, we did. It was nice." He said, "Do you think we could have had sex in my car?" And this is a straight man. He has children and everything. And then I realized what all the bullying was for. Most people that bully you like you, and they don't know how to process their feelings and emotions. But I'm not going to leave you hanging. So what happened? I said no. And then I thought about it. And I said, he really did get on my nerves. He really did. So the fact that he's offering this, I might be willing to forgive him. So I texted him back and I said, "You know what? Hey, our secret." They always do that. Don't tell nobody. Our secret. And then he comes and gets me, and I fuck him in his car in a beautiful suburban park at night. And it was good, too. And then he fucks me a couple of times, other different times, and they were good, too. He was really good. He just was really well built. He was terribly well endowed, and he just knew how to use it. And it was pretty, too. It wasn't one of them ugly dicks. So if he ever sees this, just know that your dick was amazing. And so is your ass. But you know, in all of that, I have this to say. Was that a revenge fuck? Okay. Yes, it was. Okay. Get out of my head. I can hear you. Yes, it was a revenge fuck. Okay. It was a revenge fuck. Okay. All right. I said it. But I'm not here and I wasn't there to classify him. I wasn't there to say, oh, he's a faggot, he's gay, he's just, misery loves company. A lot of times people out people because they don't want to be seen alone. Oh, well, such and such like me, they do this to celebrities. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. What's wrong with being the only gay guy in the room? I love being the only gay guy in the room. I love being the only gay guy in a room that is known. That is known. Because you know what that means? Everybody's enamored with me. Because guess what I do when I walk into a room? I'm me. I'm me. So I catch all the goods. I catch all the buys. I catch all the tries. I catch all the trans. I catch everything. And I get to choose. Ooh, I'll have this one. Ooh, I'll have that one. And I love it. But I need to drive this bottom line home. No one chooses to be gay. And no, you can't be molested and have that be the reason that you're gay because someone touched you. I was raped by a woman, molested by a man who never penetrated me at 8 years old. The woman literally put my little teeny shrimp of a dick inside of her constantly. Constantly raped by her. And it didn't make me straight. It didn't make me straight. But here's a fun fact. When you get to the self-actualization, like I have, that level of accepting yourself for actually as you are, you understand, I'm attracted to women too. I'm attracted to women too. People of beauty. That could be a woman or a man. And yes, I find them sexually attractive. Yes. But there's just something about a man, for me, submitting himself to me when he's the man to everyone else. But the pretty trans boy, and when I say trans, I mean transvestite boy, is fucking him. And whose business is it? That's my fun. Let me have my fun, please. Let me have my fun. I'm not telling y'all nothing. See, I'm not one of those. See, I talk about a lot of shit, but you would never, You can be whatever you like. You can have whatever you like. But as you close this Pride Month of this year, understand that this Pride was about soul expression, being yourself as you actually are. It wasn't about anything else. It wasn't about we're queer, we're here, get used to it. It was about showing up and representing yourself this year. And you guys did that. I didn't join in the celebrations. I worked, but that's okay. I'm a hard worker. I have things that I need to do and money that I need to make. And I was busy doing those things and making that money. But I saw, because the gays, they post everywhere, social media. I saw that you guys had fun. And I'm glad that you had fun. Soul expression, be yourself. And take that with you when you go back into your corners of the world where you may not be as widely accepted. Remember who you are. And let me tell you something too. Never turn down your personality for anyone. If they tell you have to turn down your personality for a job, baby, it's time to get a new job. You could listen. You better Richard Simmons. 70s and 80s, you better Richard Simmons. And 1, and 2, and 3. Ladies, let's get these glutes nice and tight. Listen. Gay people have money because gay people start businesses. Okay? I love each and every one of you, and I thank you for listening to me. Michael Jonvier, I love you. I love you so much. Like, Michael, I think you are one of the most beautiful men I've ever met. And you're in Atlanta right now, and I'm up in Philadelphia, but one day our paths will cross. And Michael, I just have to say, I feel sorry for your loins because I'm going to drain them. Say, no, I'm joking. Happy Pride, everyone. I love you. Queen of Shade, over and out. Michael, I was only partly joking. Partly joking. You're in trouble. I like you.
So did you enjoy? I hope you did. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and don't forget to cash at me at the Queen of Shade. I am your favorite content creator, right? Right. You want to see more of this content, right? Right. Cash at me. I love you. Mwah.
Turn that TV down.